Hello and welcome to Boomer Banter, where we have real talk about aging well. My name is Wendy Green and I am your host. And with over 15 years of experience with aging well and plenty more to come, I'm here to tackle all the uncomfortable, unexpected, and hopefully life affirming questions you've been pondering to help make the journey a little less rocky and a lot more fun. So if you want to age well, you are in the right place. My guest today, Heather Evanson Brooks, is a certified aging in place specialist, and she has earned 2 National Association of Realtor certifications. As the founder of How to Age Your Way, Heather focuses on connecting aging communities with support and education for safe, independent living. Additionally, she co-founded Step Up Housing with her sister, creating affordable housing for older adults. Heather is an active volunteer with the National Aging in Place Council and serves as the chapter chair in Southeast Florida and AARP Speakers Bureau. Heather is a third-generation Los Angeles native turned Fort Lauderdale resident with nearly 3 decades in real estate and a background in education. I am really looking forward to learning a lot from Heather. I'm at that point in my life where I'm trying to decide what my best living option will be for the next 20 plus years. And my son has also been asking me about what my plans are, and I don't really have a good answer for him. As many of you know, I am aging solo, so that adds another layer of complexity to aging in place. Things like how much will I need to modify my home to prepare for a time when I may not be as mobile as I feel right now? And what about long-term care for myself? And should I need it? What if I can no longer drive? And how will I get around? So weighing the pros and cons of aging in place and possibly downsizing or moving into a senior living facility are all options that I need to consider. And I'm sure a lot of you need to consider these options as well. So in today's episode, we are going to focus primarily on aging in place, the modifications that may need to be made, and some of the exciting innovations that are currently available and others that are coming soon. So join me in welcoming Heather Brooks to Boomer Banter.
Hello, Wendy. How are you?
I am terrific, Heather, and I'm so glad I found you and that you're here today.
I love that you are having me on the show because I love this subject, as you know, and listening to your questions, it's really who, what, where, when, how, and all of that stuff in our communities. That's why I got involved, because people are missing that component.
Yeah. So let's start out by kind of telling me what it means to be a certified aging in place specialist.
So everybody has their own way of the way that they work with their designation. You've got OTs and PTs that will go in and actually modify homes. I look at my CAP certification as looking at everything aging in place as a whole, and everything that surrounds it. You got to start from the curb to get into the house when you're aging in place, because it's not just about in the house, but how are you going to get out of the house?
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it. So aging in place, it's a large subject. CAP certification, when you
CAPS is certified aging in place specialist.
Yes.
Okay.
Through NAB, we go in and we really look at a home and how we can make the home more livable, whether it be using universal design, whether it be using modifications, or integrating technology into helping you age. So
what do you mean by universal sign?
Universal design. It's a
design.
It's a type of design that we look at with aging in place. It's an open concept. Most of our buildings and communities are being designed in a universal design. So it's open. concept that anybody, visibility and livability, anybody can live there and anybody can visit. Whether you're in a stroller, you can barely walk, you're crawling, wheelchair, walker. So it's open to anybody and inviting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you heard me start out with, I'm trying to decide what's the right thing for me.
Yeah.
So what do you tell somebody about the pros and cons of aging in place?
So I love the fact that here's the best part of it. The fact that you're even talking about it now and spearheading it before something happens is the best pro anybody can ever talk about. The con is if you are that 1 in 4 that takes the slip and a fall each year after the age of 65, and most of those slip and falls happen in your home. So if you can take that, those ideas of let's do something now about how we're living, the house we're living in, should we be living here? Where could we be living? What are our options? It goes back to that. What's going to work for us? It's right sizing your life. I know a lot of people say downsizing. I like to call it right sizing. When we bought our homes, we kind of bought them with it to fill with memories and children. But now most of us are either solo aging or just aging with 2 of us. And it's not fun when you're sitting in a 4,000 or 6,000 square foot home and you have to go up and down the stairs if you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We look at.
Okay, so you said you start at the curb. All right. So is there a scenario that you can kind of walk me through? So we're starting at the curb of my house and you look at the house and you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah. Well, am I looking at a house that's in a rural area or am I looking at a house that's, in the city? Because that's going to be vastly different. When you're in a rural area, you also have to think of, are you going to have to put technology in their home for services to come? Because if you take that slip or a fall in your home, how's somebody going to find you? If you have a neighbor constantly checking on you that's right next to you, or that maybe can hear you scream, or that can, I'm just saying it's important to think about those things. So when you are talking about something that's rural, let's look at right from the curb. What's the access to get into the home? Do you have steps getting into the home? Do you have steps, in the garage on the side? You have to have a 0-step entry to get into that home. So it's getting out of a car, not having to step up a curb. Those are the things that you really have to think of, and then being able to get right into the home. I can tell you that 90% of the homes that we have here in our infrastructure do not allow for us to live there safely without a modification. So that means most of them either have steps. These are the 3 factors that we really look at is, does it have steps getting in and out of that home? Because if emergency services, you got to get in and out. The second thing is, do you have a full bathroom on the first floor? Remember I talked about, do you have to schlep up the stairs to go to the bathroom? That's no fun.
Mm-hmm.
And then do you have a bedroom on the first floor?
Right.
That is key to being able to age in place in that home safely. But again, less than 10% of our homes actually can accommodate somebody with a mobility issue. So if you end up that slip or fall coming home with a walker or a wheelchair, chances are if you didn't make the modification beforehand and prepped, you aren't going to be able to make that modification fast enough.
So you're saying that even though I am completely mobile now, I need to think about maybe a ramp in my garage?
Will not necessarily garage. Do you have a step-free entry? Is it easy access into your house with a 0-step? If you do, then you don't have to put that ramp in a garage.
But if there's a step, is it a ramp or just a railing or?
I prefer to put a type of a slope. That way you don't have to worry. Yes, I love a railing. However, I would like a slight incline, just it makes it easier to come up and down. Railing for 1 or 2 stairs, ideal. You got more than that, I would think about putting some type of a nice ease going up into the house. Typically, if There's easier access into it. Front would be nicer. It really would. And they've got stuff out there that just is beautiful, that when it just right from the curb, it just flows so nicely and gently right up to the door.
Oh, so you're saying I can take the step away
Yeah,
and put some nice sloping curve so
you
it
know,
doesn't look like a handicap ramp, which is, I mean, I don't mean to be ableist, but
no, I mean, as that time went on and you needed a railing down there, you could put a really nice railing down it. But think about things ahead of time. So
Mhm.
that nice slope going up to the front door is already in place, and all you have to do is put the railings in when you really need it. But that's nothing. It really doesn't have much to do. You still can have access into the home.
Okay. That's a nice idea.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I've mentioned this to you before. The other thing that concerns me is the bathroom. I mean, a lot of the slips and falls happen there, right? But
Mhm.
you also don't want your bathroom to look like a hospital room, with grab bars and all.
Yeah.
So
So
help me with that, Heather.
I, I love this. I tell people, like, it doesn't look like your granny's grab bars anymore. There are some amazing companies out there. Ponte Giulio, it's an Italian line. They do have a factory here in the US. It is fabulous. It's gorgeous. They do all types of accessibility products for the bathroom. And it's sleek, nice, ADA compliant. I always tell people, think about walking into a 5-star resort, into their spa. Their spa is ADA compliant. It's gorgeous. You would never know that things were meant for handicap. The showers, the way they're designed, the way as you walk through things. I did a shower that was very difficult for people to grasp. Yet a lot of people are starting to dig the technology. So I did a Hey Alexa shower for a client, and the shower automatically turns on. Depending on which one's talking, it will automatically go to that temperature for them.
Seriously? I could tell Alexa to turn on my shower and it will know how warm I want mine.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's pretty cool.
There's a lot of age tech. If people aren't familiar with age tech, listen up. It's big. It's coming. You're going to see so much future stuff coming our way. But when you're looking at like bathroom stuff and everything, aging tech is technology for the aging sector. And it's driven by the aging sector, testing it, getting involved with the way that it's working. Apps. You've got everything from health apps, and people don't realize, but like our Apple Watches, it's a health app that was really designed for older adults. So you got stuff that's futuristic coming into the bathroom sector, but right now doesn't have to look like your granny's grab bars. It's really beautiful designs. There's great textures out there, floating sinks that accommodate wheelchair accessibility. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've shared a bunch of links with me that I will share in the show notes about some of this. So, and I just see that Tambay ADA Renovations shared a link as well in the chat. So
Great. Thank you.
yeah. So
We share with things.
let me ask you about budgets for modifying our homes. Like, you recommend starting now. So what kind of budget do I need to think about?
It's tricky, because here's the catch on that, and it's a double-edged sword. If you are a homeowner that has deferred maintenance, it's going to be a lot more than it would be somebody that has that's continuously updated and kept up the home. And what do I mean by this? If you look statistically at our home ownership of those over 55, we have the largest homeownership demographics, and most of those over the age of 70, they own their homes outright because we've lived in them for so long. It's just because of the length of time and of how long we've had it, and we've paid our mortgage down and everything else. But the point is that when you look at our nation's housing infrastructure not being able to accommodate it, then you look at people not really doing plumbing. We bought our homes. Think about it. We've owned them 40, 50 years. Our homes right now in our nation's housing infrastructure, the average age is 44 years and much older. So did you do your plumbing? Because I can tell you, if I have to go in to do a modification in your home in a shower, and I open up that shower, we have to update plumbing and bring it up to date and to code right now, and what it is now. Same with electrical. And here in Florida, we got a lot of homes that have cloth wiring in them.
Cloth wiring.
Yes.
Okay.
You then we have to do electrical. So it depends. Is it a newer home? So you can do anything from 5,000 to, 100,000, depending on the type of shower and features and stuff that you want, like any project. I tell people you have to do at least the minimum of aging in place, like no slip rugs, no slip rugs and stuff, because that's a big thing. Putting in grab bars or even towel racks in your, next to your shower, they're actually can look like grab bars. Just make sure that you don't have the towel where you would need to grab onto, that it's got to be over off to the side. Mm. So there are a lot of things out there that don't have to make, per se, the bathroom. There's a lot of great stuff in the kitchen that's happening.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. So, but the minimum would be to make your bathroom safe and access into the house.
Yeah. It's got to be first, it's access into the house. How are you going to get in and out of the house?
Oh, right.
And the second thing is yes, it's going to be your bathroom, because that's, you've got to it's your activities of daily living. You've got to be able to go to the bathroom or have access to the bathroom, kitchen, and a bedroom.
Yes. So I'm curious, with all of us, so many of us aging and the population getting older, is there any kind of federal support for some of these modifications like there used to be for solar energy?
I love that you asked that question. I'm involved in the National Aging in Place Council, and we, for the last 7-8 years, there's several of us that have worked on a bill called HR 7676. It's a Home Modification for Accessibilities Act, and it's a bipartisan bill. Originally, we were trying to go for 30,000, and this is across the board for every American homeowner that wanted to do a modification to their home. We're now down to 5,000, trying to get it passed through legislation, but we're in a presidential election year, so it's not going to go anywhere. But we've been in the Ways and Means Committee and in several other areas. And basically, this bill would cover anybody. Doesn't matter if how much money you make, because right now we have a lot of incentives for low income or, people that have, very little means to do things. So it's very hard to find things. Your cities and counties at your area on aging might have programs. However, again, you got to look at that threshold of where you would sit financially, which is why we are doing the HR 7676. So we'll start to push next year for it. I'm not going to let it go. I promise you.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like it makes a lot of sense. So many of us want to stay in our homes and are going to have to make modifications, and they're not cheap.
Yeah. And the other thing that we're trying to push is a purple tag. A lot of people don't know what products to buy that are going to be aging in place friendly. You've got grab bars that you just suction cup on. Don't do that. I just, moisture things slips off the wall. Please don't do that. Like, if you're going to do it, you need to do it the right way. You have to put blocking in the wall when you put a grab bar in. You can't just stick a grab bar in. So, again, even if you didn't have 30,000, spend the $500, the $1,000 to make sure that those grab bars are in correctly.
Yeah.
So important.
So important. because otherwise you're going to end up with bigger bills when you end up in the hospital and yeah.
But again, purple, this purple tag, we know energy efficient has yellow. Purple, we know a grab bar was safe. If we're trying to also see if we can get people that already have the certifications to be able to have a stamp. So we know that would be it's a tax incentive that we're trying to do. So you'd be able to claim it through your taxes. It's really not much money from the government. It's just kind of offsetting.
So where would we find this, or is it?
You can go, it's called HR 7676, and I believe I sent you a link, so we'll just drop it in
the show notes. But the purple.
Oh, it's all under, I believe, HR 7676. I'll have
to all under that too. Okay.
It's all under our home modifications page, but I'll look at it. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm curious, you're a real estate agent.
Yeah.
What is the impact of some of these modifications on resale? I mean, say we're selling to a younger family and not another person our age.
Okay. It's going to go right back to where are you living? Then again, what type of a house are you living in? So we know most of our homes can't accommodate somebody with a mobility issue. However, if you have a home that's great for multi-generational living, you can do these modifications in a great way that would incorporate, age tech and all the stuff. And people love age tech. The younger generation loves age tech. And if you incorporate it, we know that we can get a higher resale value. We also know that with the sandwich generation, and what's happening with the sandwich generation, we're now having more multi-generational living going on. So if you're, again, rural versus city, and then you need to look at, again, livability, that's another important part is where is your neighborhood? Is it located to everything? Is it a prime area? You've got a lot more people to pull from, buyers that are going to want that maybe have their parents and they're also raising their kids.
Mm-hmm.
They now are all wanting to live under one roof. You've already done the step-free entry. You've already done on the first floor the bathroom and the bedroom, so the parents are great. And so everybody's upstairs.
And so you've done the bathroom so that you're using the nice technology and the newest and greatest grab bars that really look pretty rather than institutional.
Right, but you're using technology throughout the house because remember this technology, we're talking aging in place and age tech, or not age tech, but like technology in general. A lot of people have a problem when we're getting out of bed at night, going to the bathroom. That's something we got to think about. So when you're aging in place, I told you it's a very loaded question. It doesn't start at the curb. So if you're walking through the house, it's getting through the door. It's now transitioning from one room to another. Do you have a little lip that goes from one room to another that you have to get over? What about carpet versus wood flooring? So how wide are the doorways? Are you going to scrape your knuckles?
Mm-hmm. And what about lighting?
So that's a big thing. Most of us over the age of 50 need a lot more light than we needed at 20. So having task lighting is important. Kick-toe lighting's great option.
What is that?
Kick-toe lighting is the lighting that's below the cabinets on the flooring. So it just lights up the flooring and it's not so bright in your face. It's great if you're getting out of bed and you're needing to go to the bathroom, you want lights that are going to light the path up so you can kind of see, but without waking everybody up in the room or yourself. But it's bright enough for you not to trip over anything.
Yeah.
So and that is all technology. If you really think about it, you could do it from an iPad.
Oh, really?
Yes. So,
and I know the younger generation, my son and daughter love lighting, sets the mood and the ambiance and whatever. So even if you put it in for safety reasons, it still is a lovely addition. So
that's what I tell people, it's not your granny's grab bars and it doesn't have to look like the way that our great grandparents and our grandparents aged. It doesn't. It doesn't have to look sterile and yucky and the colors and it being drab. we have so many patterns, especially for people that have a hard time seeing. There's some great patterned, pieces that you can put to help them. There's great textures you can use for people that have issues with eyesight as well, without having to make it look, you can still make it look aesthetically pleasing.
So who would I talk to, Heather? Would I call someone like you, a certified aging in place specialist, to kind of get started with the plan?
Yes, you would find somebody with their area of expertise. All of us with CAPS have our areas that we work in. Some just do home modifications. Some do the universal design, which incorporates all that home modification. You've got interior designers that use it for the color palettes and for the textures. So it's kind of a collective thing. That's why I joined the National Aging in Place Council, because when we talk about aging, it's a community of people. We're not all, we don't have every single aspect of it. Not all of it, not like if you have an OT or a PT that comes in and just installs the grab bars and stuff for you, but maybe they don't have the design side of it, like thinking, Alexa, turn on the shower.
Right.
So it's no different than finding, a builder that does just your basic work and then the builder that does this kind of work. You have CAPS also.
Okay, so I will talk to a certified aging in place specialist, walk them through the house and get some ideas.
You look up under National Association of Home Builders. If we have a certification under there, you can find somebody in your area. It's very easy and simple. You just type in, I believe, your zip code, and all the people will come up, and it'll kind of describe what they do and the services they have.
Okay, cool. Now let's talk about the kitchen, because you told me about some cool innovations in the kitchen. So, we worry about as we get older, and some people don't even like to cook anymore, but those of us who do, talk to me about the kitchen, making it safe.
Okay. Kitchen. I love to cook. I know, like, my mom loves to cook. However, and it's not just my mother or myself, but we all forget leaving our stove on. And if you looked about 8 years ago, we were starting to get into the stove technology, refrigerate, all that technology really is started ramping up. You had to buy the whole stove, or you had to replace an appliance, and now they're really getting integrated with things. So ohm is the first universal stove knob that was ever invented, and the girl who invented it has an amazing story. Her mother left the I don't think it was a gas range on, and had no idea, and almost burned the house down. Even if you have little kids, you leave the stove on, it happens. This knob, doesn't matter if it's gas or if it's electric. Typically, our stoves have these like two prongs that go into it, and this knob just sticks on that prong, and it can automatically turn on or off the stove. But what's even cooler is that you can set it to tell you if your mom's cooked that day, or you can monitor it. So if you are worried about a parent having memory issues, you can kind of be like, oh my God, did they leave the stove on today? Or did they even cook something today? We're getting that type of technology. It really is. So ohm is one great.
Ohm is
O-M-E.
O-M-E. Okay. And that'll be in the show notes too. Yep.
She was on Shark Tank with this product. It's just fascinating. She decided to just not take it and walked away.
Oh, wow.
Fascinating. Yeah. She's got a great story. She's doing wonderful.
Wow. So, I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah. I'm not even going to tell you more because I hope you have her on a future show. You also have all-in-one apps that actually use, it's called Smart HQ, and they take all your kitchen appliances. It could be a Samsung with a, Cuisinart with a, all different ones, and you can actually use it all in one app. So you're able to turn it on, turn it off. I know, right?
Yeah.
And if you are talking about resale value of a home and you're integrating all this really cool stuff, and we're doing it for aging in place, but you end up wanting to sell it, the younger generation is going to want this.
Oh, for sure.
Whether it's them living there long term with, being sandwiched and multi-generation living, or raising their kids in a really cool house that has all those features already.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I think you would think about in the kitchen is the height of the shelves, because they make everything so high, and then you need a step ladder, and you don't want to be getting on a step ladder at this
So
point.
I actually, I did a whole series on this they have some great cabinetry that's out that pulls out rather than digging back into a cabinet. It's expensive. So again, when you talk about how much do you want to spend versus, down here, you can be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on just cabinetry alone in a kitchen to make it easier access. I will tell you, if the best investment is just those pull-out shelves. Get as many pull-out shelves as you can without redoing everything. Sliders. It doesn't have to be fancy. They've got this great, a lot of us want to use their blenders. But they have shelves now that actually you take the blender just actually comes up, on either a lift or with like a spring, and it just comes right up to, countertop level. You take the bowl out and then you just push it right back in and it hides right back. It's like a cabinet that just comes up. Again, do you want to spend this much or this much?
Right. Yeah. All of it has a cost to it, but
it does. But
and you want to think about how you're going to arrange your kitchen too, so that things that you use all the time are easy access.
But it goes back to the beginning of our conversation when you were talking to the audience in your introduction of saying, where am I going to move? Am I going to stay? And so when I talk to people, you got to remember, I'm coming from a CAPS certification side, not a real estate side. And I got my CAPS certification because so many of my clients don't want to move from their house.
Right.
They don't want to leave. So I want to help them stay there. But I know that if they aren't within what we call we call it livability, the pillars of livability. Housing is your first pillar in livability. If you don't have safe housing as you age, meaning a step-free entry, a full bathroom on the first floor and a bedroom, it's going to be very difficult for you to access all the rest of the stuff. You've got, what about your neighborhood? Where is your neighborhood? Are you in a rural area? Or are you in a city? How's that transportation looking if you take the keys away? Or environment, what kind of environment you are? What's the engagement? Or do they have activities? Do they have social involvement? Or what about health? How close are you to health if that fall happens? How close is it for an emergency service to get to your house? Again, what kind of services are you going to put in your house if you're in the rural area versus a city area?
So much to think about.
And then you have, your opportunities. What are your possibilities for seniors if you can't, do things? Housing's your first pillar. And, I tell people, I feel like we're missing a big component as we're aging. And that's like, what the heck are we doing? How do we do it? What do we do? Where do we go? What do we ask? Who do we see? So those questions are valid questions we all have. And I think that livability and having to do it is huge. Living in that 2-story home, you bought it 40 years ago to put a family in, and your housing memories there.
Yeah. Hard to walk away.
It is, but the upkeep it's a huge expense. And things are still going up around you, the prices and everything else. Getting access to things are getting harder to find. That's another big component to it. how to age your way. We're doing a TV show on all of this, on our pillars of aging through the National Aging in Place Council. And I'm hosting the show, bringing in all of this, because where do you go? That's hard.
These are all hard questions. And I would like you to tell us a little bit about your website, How to Age Your Way, and what we would find there.
Yes. So How to Age Your Way, it's a website where you can find resources, education, and connections. So I'm a huge believer in people-to-people connections. I believe it's so important to raise our hands up and help each other out as we're aging, rather than putting our hand out, trying to, ask for someone's, money or whatever it is. We do know that the largest demographics that's being scammed is over 65. And so where do you go to get vetted resources? I'm going to tell you National Aging in Place Council, but when you want to find something, a guide, something, that's at How to Age Your Way. All of those resources you can kind of find there. If not, ask me. I'm happy to help you find something. And then you have the businesses. And the businesses have to understand how to network and connect with our aging population. We have to go hand in hand. And I think when we first spoke, I talked it was like a PTA.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
And, when we bought our homes and we went into a neighborhood, we went with somebody like a real estate agent that knew the person that you took your kid to when something happened, or if you needed something, they were like, oh, that's the market, or there's your soccer coach, or there's your tutor, and you had a resource. And then when you got involved in the elementary school, you even had more resources and more people to help you out. Now we're aging, we've been there 40, 50 years, and nobody's telling us the resources. So the National Aging in Place Council is your resource. All of our chapters are forward-facing with education. You also could look up AARP. I do a lot of speaking with them. AARP, we have speaking events in all of our communities on aging, on how to do things, where to find things, the questions to ask. So you do have that. I highly suggest that everybody download, and you can find it at How to Age Your Way, but that AARP Home Fit Safety Guide. It's in all languages, but that is going to kind of give you a really good key to what you should be doing in your home right now. Okay. It really is. It's a really expensive, I think it's 18 pages.
Wow.
Really goes through what you should be looking for, the lighting, take out carpeting, certain things, non-slip flooring. Because I said, when you talk about aging in place, it's a big component.
It's a big component. And so, I don't even know if this is possible to kind of give us like 2 or 3 takeaways. Like, here's what you should do first if you want to think about aging in place. Here's the research or the steps or whatever.
I'm going to tell you, look at where you're living. Okay. If you want to age in place, you need to age in place somewhere that's safe. So look at your surroundings. Can you afford to make those modifications? Because if you can't, then right size to something they've got different loans out there. They've got so many things, but you can right size and you don't have to feel like you're, losing everything. I would say that is the key to it. The second thing is start those modifications now before something happens. Do it now.
Do it now.
And the third thing is don't be afraid of age tech. Don't be afraid of the technology. Embrace it because it's going to help us. There's a lot of futuristic things that are coming out, like a smart mirror that's going to be able to tell you if you're in the bathroom, if your eyes, if you've got issues going on with, I know, with, not having enough. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking out?
So your mirror is looking at your eyes to see if they're glassy or whatever.
If you're dehydrated.
Dehydrated.
If you're okay. Right? They have a toilet. Toto is working on a toilet that's able to tell you what's wrong with your stool or with your urine. They tell you the future of all of this is really coming.
Oh my gosh.
People really, I want you to embrace it. So those are the 3 takeaways that I'm going to tell you. Look at your livability index. Look and make sure that you're living safely. And then if you are, make that house safe before it happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, really, that's the key to it.
Heather, you are terrific. I mean, there's so much knowledge in your head and that you have shared with us, and I so appreciate it. And yeah, lots to do to get started. So, Heather's website and the way you can follow up with her if you have other questions is the number 2, howtoageyourway.com. So check that out. Let Heather know what you thought about all that you learned today.
Wendy, do you have any questions for me? I know you were asking me those 3 questions, but really, like, out of all of this, what did you find interesting?
Oh my gosh.
Takeaway.
There's so much, right? The age tech just blows my mind. And actually, my boyfriend is putting in a new bathroom, and he's looking at some of those pretty grab bars from
Ponte
Giulio. Yes, they are. They're lovely. They're lovely.
Did you see their cabinetry that have grab bars, but they don't look like grab bars?
I saw that. I know. Very cool. So much beautiful stuff. Yeah. So no, I need to have somebody come in and start an assessment and see what's possible.
Is your home a step-free entry?
No, it has a step or 2.
Okay, not bad. And how about your bathroom? Is it on the first floor?
It is on the first floor.
Good.
And so is my bedroom. So that's a good thing. Yes.
Good.
So I'm in good shape there.
Good.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then I would say that's those steps and then the bathroom.
Okay. All right. So let me also invite people to join Hey Boomer. Hey Boomer. That's what we used to be. Let me invite people to join Boomer Banter. And you can join that by going to heyboomer.biz, which is our website, and click on Connect with Us. And then you will know about all these amazing guests like Heather as they are coming onto the show. You will also be involved in getting the newsletter, which always has some really insightful and useful information in it. So go to heyboomer.biz and click on Connect with Us. And the other thing, please, if you listen on the podcast, rate and review. It helps people find us. It helps us know what you like, what you would like to hear differently, better, whatever. So please be sure to rate and review. So let me tell you about my guest for next week. This month is all about health and safety. So next week, my guest is Mary White. And Mary is a retired epidemiologist with the federal government. And she's an adjunct professor at Emory University in the Department of Environmental Health. I read an article that Mary wrote, and it inspired me to reach out to her. So we're going to talk about the complexity of health screenings for colon cancer and specific women's health screenings. The guidelines make assumptions based on the general population, average risk. But there are times when stopping screenings based on our age, which is kind of what the guidelines say, is not always advised. So we're going to talk about that. And we're also going to talk about the importance of focusing on health rather than just focusing on disease. I love that. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot to learn from Mary. And as you know, each episode of Boomer Banter is an invitation to listen, learn, and apply the wisdom gained to your own life. We're a supportive community, so reach out and join the community. The Boomer Banter podcast is produced by me, Wendy Green, and the music came from Purple Planet Music. Heather, you are delightful, wonderful. I have so enjoyed this, and I'm sure we're going to stay in touch.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Bye.